City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect your business to what's important. Today we'll be discussing how cool is your business? And as our guest today, we have Mr. Ray Ruiz and the CEO of H.A.C. Cooling Corporation. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing good, Johnny. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Glad to have you on.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Well, you know what? When businesses decide to open up, when we decide to start our business, we go through the planning, we make sure that's done. We make sure that we have a written proposal and we make sure all those proposals are ready for investors to take a look at. When we do all those things, we dot all our I's, we cross out our T's, and we're ready to open our business up for our employees, for our staff, and for our customers. But the one thing I felt that we really want to do is to test our environment to get the best performance out of our employees. And one of the ways to do that is to make sure that your AC unit is working up to par. If it is it working effectively? Is it an environment that's inviting for a healthy environment, especially in these present times that we're in now with the pandemic and the COVID-19? So Ray, I'm so glad that you're on this podcast with us to make sure that if you're a business owner, and not only a business owner, but if you're a homeowner, is your AC working effectively enough to make sure that your family is safe and have a cool environment? So I'm so glad you're on this podcast, and I'm hoping that anybody who's wanting to know about the major role that AC units play in your home and business office, this is the podcast for them. Wouldn't you say, Ray?
Oh, no, absolutely. As far as air conditioning and indoor air quality, I mean, it's always been a big deal. I mean, there's more people paying attention to it now because of what we've been going through for the past year and some. I mean, it is the elephant in the room, it's the pandemic for sure. But indoor air quality has always been a big deal in any type of office space. Air conditioning, because remember, the air conditioner isn't just for comfort, it's also for dehumidification. It's to be able to dehumidify the office spaces. And it's the ventilation. In a lot of commercial spaces, they have what's called fresh air intakes to be able to bring some of that fresh air into the house and circulate it, but it just has to be purified and dehumidified. So yeah, it's always been a big deal, but people are paying a little bit more attention to it now for sure.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad to know that people are paying a little bit more attention to it, because I know that I've had you at my house a number of times to make sure that my air conditioning is flowing properly and everything. And you always come and do a great job. And my wife is very happy with me. So I'm happy that you are in my life to do those things.
That's the important part. That's the happy wife, happy life for sure.
Exactly. So Ray, I'd like you to take the time now to give us an overview of your company.
Well, I mean, as far as the company is concerned, I mean, we've been in business as H.A.C. Cooling Corp for about 5-6 years. I mean, we're a small company. It's myself and then my business partner, Mike. I've known Mike for about 20 some odd years. I mean, Mike has always been involved with air conditioning. Myself, I was involved with air conditioning and also a little bit of exteriors like hurricane impact windows, shutters, a little bit other types of construction. I started off doing air conditioning with Mike because Mike's father years ago, when we were actually in high school, owned an air conditioning company. So then we would be able to work with him and learn a little bit, kind of like the hard knocks of actually the actual air conditioning aspect of it. But I mean, as far as the company, we're small. We only got a couple of trucks. It's me and him and a little bit of administrative help. We keep it very simple, very simple. And we also are able to maintain the quality for sure. As far as the company, we specialize in residential, indoor air quality, and we also do light commercial work for sure.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So now you've been in business for a while,
right?
And you are my go-to guy. When anything about air conditioning, I don't have to call anyone else. I just call you, and you have everything I need to make sure that I'm getting my air conditioning to work at the capacity it needs to work, that it will take care of my household load. You are excellent in that. What are some of the methods that you can tell homeowners and also business owners that they may want to take advantage of for regular maintenance, to make sure that everything is working properly? And what signs do they get if they find out that it's not working properly?
Well, I mean, if you sense that there's a little bit more humidity in the home, if there's any type of humid odor in the house, if you just feel it muggy, a lot of times, because there's two different types of temperature you have, or two different types of heat. You have latent heat, and then you have the sensible heat. Latent heat is more moisture, it's water in the air, because the AC, it controls your comfort, but also the dehumidification of the space. So if
Okay.
you see that your thermostat is hitting its temperature, but it just doesn't feel right, like it could feel like if you set it at 74
Hmm.
and it's not a comfortable 74, you might have a little bit too much moisture in the air. As far as the vents themselves, if you ever notice that the vents have dust coming out of the vents, or
Right.
if you notice there's an excessive amount of dust, if you notice that your electrical bill is getting a little bit too high,
Right.
I mean, it's so many things that the system controls that the best thing that they would be able to do, whether it would be my company or whether it would be another company, or if they have an AC person that they already coach that already understands what system they have them just do a diagnostic, have them take a look at the unit, have them give you a list of what it is they need to do to
Okay.
be able to make things a little bit better. Because a lot of times by the time they call the AC guy out,
Hmm.
a lot of damage has already been done. And there's already other variables that have to be addressed at the same time. It's kind of trying to be proactive for sure.
Okay. Well, okay. So, and so being proactive for me has paid off.
Absolutely.
Because not only we talked about the happy wife, happy life, but we also talk about the health reasons as well. I mean, last time you guys came out, you installed an info light in my cooling system, and
Right.
that was for. Can you explain what that does for your air conditioning?
Well, there's numerous different types of systems. You have UV lights that you could install inside the air handler itself, that what the light does, it shines, and whatever it's shining on, it's disinfecting, it's killing all the bacteria. Because remember, the air handler itself is, besides the restrooms, is one of the dirtiest places in the house, because you have all the microbes,
Hmm.
all the particles, all the pet dander, all the impurities, all the VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds, which is when you spray Lysol, or you're cooking, the smoke. I mean, there's so many different things that we're breathing in inside a confined space, and that's all passing through the air handler. And the air handler, which is the box on the inside of the house, typically.
Okay.
Sometimes it could be a component on the roof. It's wherever the filter is. Typically, that's the part that's sucking in the air. That's the air handler. But what the UV light does is that whatever it's shining on, it helps to disinfect. Now, there is other applications that you could put into the airstream that help disinfect the airstream itself.
Hmm.
So there's different applications based on what they need for the indoor air quality aspect of it, for sure, for sure.
So how does a person know which one would be better suited for their unit?
Well, once we go out there, we do an assessment, and then we could give them a couple of different options. I mean, anything that you put in your air handler to be able to disinfect the blower motor wheel or help disinfect the coil itself, it's going to help to be able to kill all the bacteria, because you have constantly water and condensation building up in the air handler. So
Hmm.
you always have changes of temperature. Now, if someone is more interested in getting something that's towards the airstream, then it will
Hmm.
be another component that's added into the actual main supply of the air conditioner. But it's just an assessment. It's an assessment that's done. Some
Okay.
people go all out and they do the UV lights, and they do the one that goes into the airstream.
Okay, now, okay, so the benefit of doing both is double protection or
Additional, additional, it
additional.
all helps. Every aspect of it helps. It's like changing your filter, cleaning your coil, putting the UV lights in. I mean, there's been applications that I've had 3 different UV lights inside the air handler cabinet. And then I've had an air purification system installed in the main supply of the unit itself, which has become more popular because people are paying attention more to microbes, which are the
Right,
small
right.
particulates that get through the filter and start traveling through the airstream.
For those households who have uh, compromised immune systems, say one of their children may suffer with cancer, going through cancer treatments or something like that. This would be the best route for them to go to make sure that the safety is there in their homes, correct?
Absolutely. One of. I mean, I'm not a doctor, and there's
Mhm,
numerous things that they
mhm.
would be able to do, but it's definitely something that would help without a doubt, because it's just helping sanitize.
Right. Okay. All right. Because
Helping sanitize.
I know they tell you to wear, I know they tell you to, I know when my daughter's going through her treatments, they were telling us to make sure you change your filter often, buy a
Correct.
certain kind of filter, the micro filters. Um, and some people say they're great to have, and other people say, well, no, a filter is a filter. But I don't know. I don't know. I know there's people listening now will probably want to know, what do I do in this situation, because I want the best for my loved one that is that have a compromised immune system.
As far as the air filters are concerned, they have different MERV ratings that you could actually look up MERV ratings and you could see on the point scale what type of microbes they stop from coming in. The issue is when you buy a very high MERV rated filter with,
Hmm.
for instance, a regular standard air conditioner, what
Hmm.
happens is that because it's so thick and it's
Hmm.
stopping all the small microbes, it's creating an additional restriction on the air handler.
Hmm.
So everything starts working significantly harder. Do they work? Absolutely. But a lot of the systems nowadays, they have what's called, it's called ECM technology, which is almost like variable speed, even if
Hmm.
you don't have a variable speed unit, and the motor attempts to adjust with resistance. So if you're putting a filter that's extremely thick, because MERV filters are great when you go to the higher ratings because
Hmm.
they stop the small microbes. Now you're putting the additional pressure on the motor. And that's when you start having mechanical failures based on the type of system you have. In my opinion, I would go more towards the UV lights. I would go more towards the air purifiers that help actually sanitize the air, because now you're not really affecting the air coming in.
Right,
You're
right.
affecting the air coming out, going into the system itself.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, put less strain on the actual unit itself, which causes it to work at better performance level.
Well, whenever you're putting additional strain on the air handler itself,
Mhm.
the motor's working harder, there's more wear and tear involved. The filters tend to get dirty significantly quicker. And then if
Yeah.
someone misses a change out of it, you're putting more pressure on the unit, and then you can start having the system being compromised.
Okay. Now I'm a procrastinator when it comes to changing my filters.
Me too.
When, when,
In my own house, me too.
which, when are the proper times to change a filter?
I'm. It really depends on the house. I mean, I've had
Okay.
clients that they've had to change it every 2 weeks. But
Okay.
typically, yeah, I've had clients every 2 weeks. But typically it's every month.
Okay.
Once a month, no matter what the box says, if it says it's a 90-day filter,
Mhm.
60-day filter, every month you change the filter out. Because
Uh,
even if the filter isn't completely dirty, whatever you're putting back in is still
mhm.
going to allow more airflow. So you're not going to be hurting the unit. If anything, you're going to be taking a little bit of the pressure off the unit if you like
Hmm.
that MERV system.
Okay. And I know by me having a dog, I should change it. I should do it every month, regardless,
Absolutely.
because hair it sucks up her
Yeah.
hair and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and the UV lights and the actual the air purifiers for the airstream, it also helps with pet dander.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
with pet dander for sure. Because before before COVID and everything else, I mean, I was into indoor air quality
Hmm.
because my daughter was asthmatic. So I started researching myself, and I have a couple of different products that I researched and actually use in my own house before I started representing them. So there's only a couple that I use because I know that they work. Now there's a bunch of them out there that are reputable, but it's very good to be able to tell someone you're using this stuff in your own house,
Okay.
especially when you have someone in your house that has asthma.
Right. Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. And as always, as usual, I learned so much from you about air conditioning when we talk, especially when you do your presentations at our referral groups. Um, I'm part of the
Absolutely.
Chamber of Commerce. I love how you bring us some ideas and the latest things out there. Now there are some. I know you always hit us up with some latest things that are available, the latest things that are out, or you give us warnings of what's out that we should
Right.
be aware of. Any of
Right.
those things you have today that you can share? Because I know you're full of that information. That beware of this, or this is a new thing that's coming out. It's tested, proven. Um,
Right. Well, I
Share
mean,
away.
at this time of the year, typically what I start reminding people of is
Mhm.
power surges,
Okay.
especially Miramar, West Pines. Well, I mean, just Florida itself. I mean, we have power surges, we have lightning,
Mhm.
Transformers are popping at times. Whenever you start having power surges, you want to be able to turn off the air conditioner at the thermostat. You put it in the off position because if your unit goes, if your house goes through a power surge,
Mhm.
turns off, then power turns back on, or if it starts to flicker, now you're getting the voltage in the unit coming in and out of it. You got the electricity trying to kick it back on. And then that's when you start getting damage to motors, capacitors, you start
Mhm.
getting you start having components overamping. So when you start having power surges, turn the turn the system off at the thermostat for sure to be able to protect it. That's one thing. If you don't have a surge protector, and I mean everyone has, most people have, 90% of the people, if you ask them, do they have their TV on an
Mhm.
electrical strip or on a surge protector? Everyone says yes. But now ask someone if they have their air conditioner on a surge protector.
Mhm.
Most people don't. Now,
Right.
some people have a surge protector for their entire house, but it's not dedicated to the AC. But they still have their TV plugged into a surge protector,
Hmm.
but they don't have their air conditioner plugged into a surge protector. And there is surge protectors out there that are specific for air conditioners. A
Wow.
good way to understand. Go ahead.
I'm just learning something already. Uh,
Wonderful.
I'm just learning something already. So a surge protector for your air conditioning.
Correct.
I had no idea.
It's specific to the air conditioner because a lot of the newer systems now, the motors are significantly more money because of
Hmm.
the technology involved in the motor itself. And they're strong, but at the same time, if they're going through surges and they're not turning off the the thermostat when they're going through surges
Hmm.
and the power's coming in and out of them and the motor pops,
Hmm.
you got to replace it.
That replaces wow. Okay, so to get a surge protector for your unit, would you have to call a professional person to install that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we offer it to our clients. Like, for instance, whenever we go out and we do a diagnostic, whenever
Hmm.
we go out and we do a tune up before summer actually starts, what we
Hmm.
do is we flush a line, like we'll clean out a drain line, and then we'll do a diagnostic, and then we'll come up with a list of different suggestions,
Hmm.
starting kind of like on priority that these are things that you need in order for your system to run the right way. And then these are accessories of things that you could be able to put on,
Okay.
because some people prefer to do things in an order. Some people prefer to do it all at the same time. But surge
Right.
protectors are a big deal for sure. One
Well,
of.
yeah,
And this is a
especially,
good
yeah,
time.
especially,
Good.
especially when we're living in Florida with the hurricanes that we have, hurricane season that we have, and sometimes you can have a power outage that could last for a while. It can flick on for an hour and then flick back off, flick back on,
In
and that's pretty
2000,
bad.
the last hurricane that passed in 2019, I believe that was the year, for months, we were running around changing motors and capacitors and just components, because even once you get the surge and it doesn't feel right away, it still started to wear on that motor. So if it doesn't happen right away, it could happen later on. But it was
Okay.
months afterwards that it was just motors and capacitors and motors and capacitors. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Okay. So if anybody's listening, wanted to get a maintenance done on their diagnostic and a maintenance on their unit, do you have maintenance plans
Yeah, we
or
have
provision?
preventative maintenance plans. If it's something that makes sense for the
Hmm.
client itself, if they have a newer unit, sometimes you don't need the maintenance plan as often. If there's some type of condition that the unit is backing up with water more consistently, or if the system, for whatever reason, is getting coils dirty significantly quicker because of the CFMs or the design of the ductwork, and they don't want to change the ductwork. If there's something else on newer systems, then I would recommend a preventative maintenance program. If it's something that they just want to do semi-annually, they could do it. Some people do it quarterly. Some of my commercial clients that have again, it's light commercial that we do, they
Hmm.
do it monthly, where we go there and we change the filters, we flush the lines, we do a diagnostic. Just, it really depends on the application. But the good thing about us is, since we're a small company, when we
Hmm.
go out there, we tailor it to the client. And if we don't think you need it, like you don't need
Hmm.
a preventative maintenance
Right.
program, we wouldn't offer it. If it's something that we feel would be beneficial to you because it makes sense for the application, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's one of the things that set you apart. What you said there, you're a small company, but to me, you're huge. Uh, I love your professionalism, and I can say this with the knowledge of what I know that I've experienced with your professionalism. Your team is a professional. Mike is professional. You guys know your stuff. You come in. There is no trying to heckle you or trying to see if you're telling, what really needs to be done. It is on point. You guys are really, really professional. You clean up after you're done. You make sure that we're comfortable. You make sure that we're okay. And here's the catcher for those who are listening. I'm gonna throw you out there, Ray.
Let's do it.
You can call Ray out. You can call Ray, what, 10 o'clock at night?
I've got it phone before.
He's pretty much going to answer the phone or text you, and,
Yeah,
and he's definitely going to get back with you. And within a couple of days, if that,
right.
sometimes it's a 24-hour turnaround. With most of the time, it's a 24-hour
Right.
turnaround that he's there answering your door, at your door, waiting for you to open it up so he can go ahead and take care of your problem for you. So,
Yeah,
so
I'm
no, you're a
very,
small company, but your company gets around and move around like a major company. So,
no,
so
no,
I
but
appreciate that.
I'm very, very blessed. I mean, I have the team that's around me is excellent. My business partners, I've known him again since high school. He's the godfather of one of my kids. My family, they understand what this business is, and I have all the support in the world from everyone I need. I mean, I appreciate all the nice things, but everyone else that's around me, believe me, they're a lot better than I am. A lot better than I am. That's for sure. That's
Well,
for sure.
you know what I tell everybody also that if you're a business owner, it's not so much that you have to know the total business,
Right.
but have people around you who do.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be better than me. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
and make it you if you have the right people around you, you're going to be very successful. And right
No,
now, my friend, your business is very successful. I don't think there's anybody I've heard that have used your services that regretted it. Matter of fact, you work well with some real estate companies as well when they're having to do homes to get them prepared for sales and stuff. You do
yeah.
that as well.
Oh, yeah. Realtors, property managers. I mean, I've been a member of the Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce for
Mhm.
probably 5 years since we rolled out H.A.C Cooling Corp for about 5 years. I mean, I've been a member of Power Partners, the group that me and you're in, that I've been a member of that for probably 3 years.
Mhm.
And it's amazing all the professionals that you have the opportunity to watch. I mean, Power Partners for me, with all the people that are there, especially at Mark Levinstein, the
Yeah,
leadership team that's there. You have Lisa, Yasser, I
yeah,
mean, Tom Sadler, Steve. I mean, you have so many other
yeah.
professionals. I mean, I could go on and on. I could talk 30 minutes just about all the professionals we have in there. I mean, they're all a phone call away, and just to be able to see how they do things
Yeah.
and all the people you're able to meet. I mean, I have people that I met in the chamber probably when I first started that I'm doing business with them to this day, and then they send someone else to you, then they send someone else to you, and it's just a great thing. It's just a great thing. I'm very, very fortunate again for having the people around me to be able to do the good work. So then they just keep calling us to be able to do it.
I'm glad you brought that up with the Chamber of Commerce. Matter of fact, I had a podcast about the Chamber of Commerce with Mr. James Parker, and now right now you're validating everything that him and I talked about. How
Yeah,
powerful the networking and the connection of other professional people have been made an impact even in your own business. But also
right.
you mentioned one of my close friends and a great all around guy, Mr. Mark
Oh yeah,
Lieberskin, who's the chair of Power Partners, one of the greatest, I believe, referral groups in the Miramar Pembroke Pine Chamber of
exactly.
Commerce. He runs a very good um, educational and meaningful
Yeah,
referral group every Tuesday we meet there. So if you're a business owner out there and you're in the city of Miramar, Pembroke Pines, you may want to take advantage of the Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce because, like Ray says, even during the pandemic, your business. I think you worked harder during the pandemic than you worked.
yeah, I did. I did. I actually, I was less. I don't like being in the warehouse or in the office too much. but we were on the field a lot more because things were a little bit more sensitive because of the pandemic. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
professionally, it was a very good year because we were able to do a lot of different applications because there was a lack of inventory on systems last year. So we had to install numerous different types of systems at
Mm-hmm.
times to be able to get things done. So professionally, I was able to be even more hands-on than I was prior. So what we were doing, so it was definitely a really good year. It was a really good year for sure. As far as the professional part of it, of being able to learn
Right. Okay.
for sure.
Well, I'm glad you allowed me a moment to give that shameless plug for Mark. So I think it's good listening.
Mark for sure. But then when you got you have Lisa, you have Tamika that
Yes,
gets
you do. Yeah,
networking
it's a
tips,
very
you
good
have
team.
Tom Sadler, you have it goes on. You have
It
Michelle
goes on.
Sandone that's putting the things on Facebook and everything else, doing the social media, and you have
Exactly.
all these other people that are just giving you. And the funny thing is that 1 hour that we get,
It's so impactful.
the thing is you get all these little nuggets from
Yes.
everybody. And then the
Yes.
thing is, I mean, you get these little nuggets, everyone's running something. So I mean, when you're listening to them, you say, wow, that's a good idea.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, taking that for sure. All the time.
Exactly.
All the time.
Exactly. I'm hoping that when people watch this podcast and listen to this podcast, then not only are they interested in and having you come in and make sure that their systems are working up to part and also that's healthy for their environment, but also that they take a listening ear to the Chamber of Commerce, that they become a part of that, that's a great networking way for you to market your business and to grow your business. I mean, to me, it's a and the city of Miramar does wonderful things for the business owners in the city of Miramar when it comes to that. So they pay for
Actually,
your first year.
it's a
So
it's a platform that they
yeah,
give you to be able to build a relationship. And that's what
absolutely,
small businesses need. It's relationships and people that are like your personal little sales force, but it's something that just happens naturally over time.
exactly,
And it's a great group. It's a great group.
absolutely, absolutely. So before we close out, I know you got to go. You're a busy guy. Before we close out, what is a tip of the day you have for anyone out there who may be struggling with air conditioning? May like what? I had a thing where I would turn my air conditioning. I had to turn it down to like. Remember that time I had to turn it down to like 60 something, 65 for the room to remain like 78.
Right.
So tips like that. What if people are going through those kind of struggles and they're having that? What are some of the things that they may want to take notice of and do?
I mean, first off, what you really want to do is you want to have your AC company go out there and take a look at least once a year. At least once a year. This is a really good time to do it, to have someone go out there and just do a diagnostic,
Mhm.
have them take a look at all the different points. Also, where you change your filter, where that filter gets changed out,
Mhm.
wherever the filter gets changed, you want to look at that coil because the coil is where all the air passes through. If that coil's dirty, then you want to get that cleaned because the cleaner the coil, the more airflow, the crisper the air, the more it absorbs heat. Because
Mhm.
the unit you have on the inside of your house,
Mhm.
that's what absorbs the heat. The unit you have on the outside, that's what rejects the heat. So the circuits don't work the right way if the coils are dirty. Also,
Mhm.
flushing the drain lines, basic things that they could do themselves would be change their thermostat batteries because a lot of times people don't
Mhm.
change their thermostat batteries. And when they change it, they don't connect them the right way. And sometimes that could cause a failure on the outside unit that they think something's wrong with the unit, but it's really just a thermostat battery. For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
Perfect. Perfect.
But
Well,
then
Ray, I would like to thank
the
you
first
for
tip could be is for them to call me or Mike.
exactly. I was going to say that. I was going to say that.
Or Mike.
So Ray, how can people reach you?
Well, I mean, we have numerous different phone numbers. I mean, one line is 786-487-9787, which is mine. Then you have Mike's, which is 954-594-7816. I mean, we have an email address, info@haccooling.com. We have a very small business website that it's not fancy, but it'll get the job done that you can send a submission through there. Or they could come visit us at Power Partners on our Zoom call, and then I could be able to talk to them there for sure. We meet every Tuesday,
Absolutely, absolutely.
except for the
But
second Tuesday.
we're gonna have all your information, contact information, um, with this podcast. When people click on to see the podcast, they're gonna get all your information there, how to reach you.
Yeah,
And I'm
no,
quite sure that if once they meet you or Mike, though you two come out there and they're going to be around forever.
Oh, no.
They're never, you're going to have forever, ever fun. And I believe that's your customer base. Like I can't imagine you not having return customers and have a customer base based on what the services you provide.
That's all this is about. This
Yeah.
about just doing one service. This is about, I mean, fortunately, because we've always been involved with air conditioning prior, but I was doing exteriors and air conditioning, and Mike was
Mhm.
doing air conditioning as well, and with his dad. But I have clients that I would work on their units, the parents. Now I'm doing the kids' air conditioning systems. So I mean, it's something that just keeps going. I'll have a client that now I'm doing their pretty much the entire family's air
Wow.
conditioning systems, and then it's just that they just keep calling back. And that's the most important. It's not about doing the first job because the first job doesn't mean anything. It's just the consistency of them
Right.
calling back for sure. And then when we do go out there, if it's something that we don't specialize in, we'll let the client know. We'll tell the
Right.
client that it would be best if you were to do this. We'll give them our recommendation because there's other
Mhm.
things when it comes to air conditioning. You have air balancing, you
Mhm.
have psychometrics. I mean, there's so many different little details
Mhm.
for dehumidification, everything else that sometimes you just have to tell them that you need someone else that specializes in this particular field because air conditioning, mechanical, and indoor air quality is such a broad aspect of different things for
Wow.
sure.
Mhm. Okay. Well, thank you, Ray, for being our guest today. Every time I get around you, I learn so much, and it's matter, and also not so much the learning part, but just the friendship that we develop over the time. So thank you for
Absolutely.
being a friend of mine as well.
No,
Appreciate that.
absolutely. No, I appreciate you and definitely happy wife, happy life, Johnny. That's the most important part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, business owners, if you're out there, please make sure you register for the City of Miramar Business Pulse newsletter. In this Business Pulse newsletter, you will find events that are happening on in the City of Miramar. You will find weather alerts, webinars, events, and everything that's going on, training, educational opportunities, and financial opportunities that are available for you on our Miramar Business Pulse newsletter. Go on to www.miramarfl.gov Business Pulse. You want to track that in again? It's www.miramarfl.gov/business pulse. Please join our newsletter where you can get all the information, everything that the city of Miramar is doing. Ray, again, thank you for being here. And again, this is Johnny Douglas, your host, signing off, telling you to be careful, be safe, but most importantly, stay connected.